Hi guys, how's it going? My name is Peepbreaker, and today I would like to start a new small series on how to become better in Battlefield 3 and just in general in pretty much any other first-person shooter out there. Now, since this is a pretty big topic to cover, I would like to do two parts, with the first one being this, where I talk about hardware and software settings and how to just set up the right environment to become superior on the battlefield. Now, why would you listen to me talking about this? I'm certainly not the best Battlefield player. I do, however, have a pretty big record of playing first-person shooters, including a lot of tactical shooters such as Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike Source, Battlefield 1942, Battlefield Bad Company, and of course all the other first-person shooters like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare Black Ops, Far Cry, Crysis, Arma, and just a lot of games. So I think I have a pretty big record of games that I've played, and I hope I can tell you a little bit about my experience and what I found out worked best and how to become better. So first of all, about the hardware. Of course, the better your hardware, the better your gameplay is gonna be. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you've gotta have a $10,000 computer at home. Just get some regular stuff. Of course, a good graphics card is kind of important because it's gonna lead to higher frames per second. But on the other hand, if you can't afford a Titan, that's okay. Just go with something else. 5060, 5070, 5080. These are pretty nice. Of course, the 6 series is even better. I'm gonna be getting a 680, and I'm probably gonna be doing a review on that one too. But however, if you can't invest too much, then that's not gonna hinder you too much. Now, one thing that you should try and do is playing via Ethernet or LAN. If you play via Wi-Fi, it's gonna get a little bit more laggy. You're gonna lose a little bit more packets. The ping is gonna be higher, and you're just not gonna have a good connection to the server like you would have with Ethernet. Now, of course, I can understand that a lot of people can't have Ethernet connection, including myself. I can't have an Ethernet cable running through my whole house. It's simply not possible, and so I have to play via Wi-Fi too, but as you can see, it's not gonna prevent me from being good. Now, other than that, a 120Hz monitor is actually pretty damn sweet. I just recently got one, and I gotta say, the gaming experience is really better. You do see things faster, everything is more fluent, you see movements a little bit faster, it feels like, and overall it's just gonna be a little bit faster on the twitch reflexes. You can take out enemies a little bit faster, and it's just gonna be that little extra help that you need to become better. Now, of course, a 120Hz monitor is not really useful if you don't hit more than 60 frames, because then you can just go with a 60Hz monitor. Now, Battlefield in this regard is pretty forgiving. I play Battlefield and I have like 80 to 100 frames. I will talk about the settings a little bit later here. So for me, it really is worth getting a 120Hz monitor. Now, also, it is pretty key to the game to get a decent mouse, because the mouse is the thing where you aim with, and if you have a shitty mouse, you're not going to be able to play good. Always make sure to have cabled mouses and keyboards, because the Wi-Fi ones are not very reliable. They can lag or can lose the connection, and then you're just standing there not moving or whatever. So do make sure to have a cabled mouse. You don't really necessarily have to have a mouse with crazy high DPIs. It doesn't really improve upon your aiming, I thought, but if you have, it's a good thing to have. Now, also try and use a mouse pad. I actually also only recently got one, and I gotta say, you can be way more accurate and pinpoint with your mouse. Now, last but not least, it's always good to have a decent headset, because if you can play sounds and gunfire, you can easily tell where enemies are coming from and where you're gonna look at. Sadly, Battlefield 3 doesn't have an awful lot of footsteps in there, because the whole sound is pretty loud, the other sounds, so footsteps you're not going to hear too good, but other than that, if gunfire, of course, you're going to hear, and you can tell where it's coming from. So overall, that was pretty much it for the hardware part. If you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below, and make sure to answer them. But yeah, let's go over to the software settings and how to set your computer up right. Now, first of all, you want to make sure to have mouse acceleration disabled in Windows, because basically what it does is it adds random acceleration to your mouse. And when you want to turn and you turn faster, it actually turns further than when you turn slower. And that's a no-no. You don't want to have that. You always want to turn the same amount, no matter how fast you move your mouse. Now for me, this is about 4 centimeters for the 180 turn. It's pretty fast, but I like it that way. Even though my mouse sensitivity is all the way to the left, that is because I'm running my mouse in 6800 dpi right now, which is pretty high. But you kind of can have it just how you like it. Now, one other thing worth to mention is if you're playing other games, you want to have always the same amount of turn ratio. So you always want to turn at the same sensitivity. So do make sure that you're gonna measure how many centimeters it uses for you to make a 180 turn, and then set up the mouse sensitivity accordingly. Now heading over to the gameplay tab, here is one thing which you might want to check. The network smoothing factor, which is normally here all the way over to the right. And basically what it does is it adds 100 millisecond of artificial ping. And this is a no-no, you don't want to have that. You want to have it as slow as possible, because even if your system has 100 milliseconds more to render stuff and to calculate everything, you're gonna see enemies slower. So you want to have this all the way to the left. It's not going to be all that smooth. If you're recording, we can have it like over here, but usually you want to have it to the left just to get the best experience out of the game. Now the other things are pretty much user preferences. I like the weapon zoom to be click and not hold, because when I play, I don't want to I don't want to hold my mouse while moving around, aim down sights. I just want to click once and then be done with it. But this is also pretty much just how you like it. Now the audio tab, here we can see your speaker system, and you want to have this on home cinema, because this gives you some sort of 5.1 emulation, and you want to have that for better audio placement. Now heading over to the most important tab, and this is the video tab. Now first of all, I'm playing in a field of view of 90 degrees because I think it's the best to get the biggest peripheral view. Some people say they get motion sickness of this, just then play on 80 or something like that. But I think it's the best to get the most out of your screen. Of course, motion blur you want to have all the way to the left, so disabled, because nobody likes motion blur, or at least I don't. And now colorblind support. This is a tricky one. A lot of players swear on colorblind support, and basically what it does is it changes your color in the HUD, and like these things. The C4 now is this ugly blue instead of the blue of Enter the Bike. And I don't know, some people say that they can see it better in this blue rather than in this. I can't, I definitely can't. I like it when it's off, but this is also something that you have to try out and find out yourself. Now heading over to the quality, which is kind of important. I have everything on low except for mesh quality, and I want everything on low because I want to have the highest frame rate that I could possibly get out of my system. And this is kind of important. If you play, even if you have a beastly system and play on ultra, you're gonna notice a difference, because somehow when you have everything on ultra, it adds so many effects and stuff that it's always a little bit laggy, and you don't want to have that. You want to have the most direct input, the most direct picture you could ever get, and this is only possible on low, or probably medium settings work too. But I just like the most FPS, and I'm playing on low, except for mesh quality. And this one pretty much makes your object render distance higher if you have it on ultra, and so if you're in a chat you can see things further away. So if you're engaged against ground targets, you can actually see somebody. Now I do have anti-aliasing on twice because I want my gameplay to look smooth and not all that pixelated, but actually you can have that on off as well. Now going over to the key bindings, which have some important things too. Always make sure to keybind your stuff just like you would it in any other first-person shooter. For example, I have melee on E instead of on F, like it is in the game, and exit vehicle and interact on F. Because I always hit melee from Call of Duty. I always hit E for melee, and then when I want to get in a vehicle, I always melee it or whatever. It's always wrong, the wrong way around. So that's how I roll. Now also I do have something else, and this is this one, which is pretty important. I do have toggle primary weapon and mouse free. So this is my thumb button, and basically what this does is it allows me to switch my weapon whilst moving around. So this is very important if you want to be good at this game and you're out of ammo. Oh, this is bad. Well, I'll be right back. Okay, so turned out that the whole bunch of people joined my server. What the fuck? Okay, where was I? Alright, I was at key bindings, toggle primary weapon. I want to have this on my thumb button because I can then jump around, run around and do all that crazy stuff and still be able to toggle my weapon. So if I'm out of ammo, for example, my primary, I can just switch it and get my secondary. Of course, now I have the other way around, but whatever. You get what I'm talking about. Also, you can jump and toggle and do actually pretty much anything while it's toggling. Now, what else is there? There's a lot of other things that I've changed, actually. I have throw grenade on my mouse 4 key, which is pretty much the one next to the thumb button. And also, which is pretty important, I have zoom minimap on mouse 2, which is my middle mouse button. So when I push my middle mouse button, you can see how the minimap changes. And this is pretty important. If I'm up close against somebody, I want to know where he is, I get the best overview with this view. But if I want to see right now, I can't see anything. So what do? I toggle to the higher magnification of the minimap. So this is pretty important. And also I do have another thing assigned, and this is select gadgets 2 in 1. So basically what this does, it allows me to select my C4 or my devips or my repair tool, my repair tool with a scroll of my mouse wheel, so I don't have to put off my fingers off the ASWD keys, which is pretty important if you want to be good. Now also I have if I scroll up, I have my other gadget. So this is pretty darn handy. You don't have to take off your keys. You have to set up your keys the way that you don't have to take it off the ASWD keys. And can still sprint around, can do all the crazy stuff and toggle stuff. So yeah, this is pretty much anything that I've changed. Everything else I've pretty much left on the standard values. I hope I could help you out a little bit and help you set up your computer right and the settings for the game. And please leave me a comment in the comment section below letting me know if this was anything worth or if I have forgotten anything. And then for the next part, I'll be talking about some aiming tricks, some tactics, and some team play tips and tricks. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and until next time, ciao!